Hi, I'm Melanie Walker, and this is How to Live a Life, the Eco Edition.
And I'm Nick Hall from E Tron Electric Motorbikes, and this is how I live my life.
Nicholas, tell me, how eco-friendly is this electric bike?
Well, this eco-friendly electric bike is, from a carbon neutrality point of view, carbon neutral while it's operating on the road. So it obviously doesn't put out any exhaust. It's got a 3,000 watt electric brushless rear hub motor, so completely carbon neutral. The downside to the carbon neutrality in South Africa at the moment is the fact that you still got to charge using fossil fuel, as in Eskom. What we've developed is a solar panel that's going to come as part and part of the bike, where you can be completely off-grid. So it'll be completely eco-friendly and carbon neutral.
Okay, and apart from anything else, of course, this thing is really silent, so there's no noise pollution.
Absolutely none, which is quite nice. You'll see that we fitted these Bluetooth speakers, so a lot of the guys that do ride are very sensitive to the fact that the bikes are impossible to hear because, as you said, they run completely silently. So the Bluetooth speaker allows you to upload or Bluetooth any kind of sound through the bike that you want. So while you're riding, you can be audible. Visibility on the bike, we've managed to take care of using this rather spectacular rider safety night light. So the beauty now is at night you've got a lot of visibility, a lot more than any normal bike on the road. The Bluetooth speaker now allows you to also have that audio impact, which bikers traditionally do like.
So what kind of sounds can you play through it?
Well, the beauty is you can upload any sounds through the bike you want. So you can either replicate the sound of a motorcycle, you can play music through the bike, you can play absolutely anything your heart desires. From a GPS point of view, it's kind of nice as well. And because it's Bluetooth, it's not costing you a fortune.
So what are some of the advantages and the disadvantages of the bike?
Well, I don't think there's too many entrepreneurs that are going to point out too many disadvantages, but the honesty is that the advantages purely by far outweigh the disadvantages. Firstly, from the advantageous point of view is the cost of ownership and the cost of running. So you've got an initial price on this bike, it's going to cost 90,000 Rand, including VAT, to get yourself on the road. The beauty is, because of the nature of the component, you've got only 3 service items that ever need attending to on the bike. So you'll do a set of brake pads at about 8,000 kilometers. You'll do a set of brake discs at about 20,000 kilometers and tires around the same 20,000 kilometer mark. Other than that, you've got a ring-fenced motoring solution. Some of the disadvantages, like all bikes do have, unfortunately, is in the design in terms of the ability to carry groceries and shopping and all the other bits and pieces. Now, we resisted the temptation to try and please all of the people all of the time. So the design on the bike is pure. You can see it hasn't got a pillion seat on it, and the reason for that is twofold. One, it would have killed our design, and we wanted to stay true to what we wanted to do. And secondly, obviously the added weight of a passenger is going to make the bike a lot more expensive, because it would mean a bigger battery, a bigger rear hub motor, and the cost would then put it into the kind of category that people start looking at maybe buying a new car rather than buying a new electric motorcycle. So from a shopping point of view, though, I must tell you that having ridden this bike extensively for the last 4 years while we've been doing all the R&D, I've discovered that, thanks to the wonders of online shopping, people can get their stuff delivered to the house, which is kind of nice. And there's nothing to stop you getting out there and buying a backpack, which takes care of the storage problems on a bike like this.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that people are always saying. The other thing, of course, is the weather.
Listen, inclement weather is always a problem when you're a biker. So there's 2 things. One, your risk on the road is doubled on a bike because you've only got 2 wheels rather than 4. So that is a problem. And also your skill level on electric bikes, believe it or not, has to be even better than that on a petrol bike because of the nature of the performance. So I'll demonstrate for you quickly. We've got a couple of safety features we fitted to this bike to make sure that you don't just get on and off you go into oblivion. So the stand has to be up before the bike will start. This red ignition switch needs to be down before the bike will start, and obviously the ignition needs to be turned on. So if it's turned on and the stand is up and the switch is down, you'll see just how quickly you're up and running.
Stay away from the wheel. Yeah.
So it'll do 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. It's got a top end of 109 kilometers an hour. It's got a range on the bike, if you ride it sensibly, of about 150 kilometers on a single charge. So it's got a 3-hour recharge time from 0 to 100%, or you can charge incrementally. And what's nice about lithium-ion batteries is they do like to be charged on a regular basis.
Now, talking about the charging, if you're running the lights on this as well, does that deplete the battery a little quicker?
Well, that's a good question. What we did was we designed a bike. You'll see 2 things. Firstly, we've got a dual USB charging port on the bike, which allows you to charge your phone while you're riding, which is quite nice.
Well, everybody needs that, don't they?
Absolutely. The thing is, it's quite nice. The draw from the battery is milliamps. So it doesn't affect the battery performance in any way, shape or form. Even the LED lights we fitted, you'll see on this bike we've got a media pack on the bike plus the rider safety light. This is the rider safety light there. Also, the draw from the lithium-ion battery is milliamps. So none of the accessories we fitted to the bike will deplete the range on the bike in any way, shape or form, which is nice.
Okay, now when it comes to the actual costs of running the bike, I mean, you're charging it obviously, how much is that costing to charge? Because I mean, electricity is not cheap these days.
Listen, and unfortunately the tariffs move as much as the petrol price moves up and down. The cost on this bike is 0.05 cents per kilometer if you're using the Eskom tariff. Obviously, a lot of guys who are riding bikes are going to be charging off-site. They're not necessarily going to be charging at home. And the beauty of the way we've designed this bike is it doesn't need it's a general purpose charge. This bike charges off a standard 3-pin plug. So you've got a charging port at the back of the bike, you've got an extension, a 4-meter extension housed in the side of the bike, and you're literally connecting the bike to the mains and off you go. So you disconnect kettle, plug in bike, and off you go.
What kind of license do you need to have to ride this bike?
Well, you need a bike learner's license if you're an unlicensed driver. What will qualify you to ride it is a bike learner's license. If you're a qualified driver, obviously you've already got a learner's license, employed in your full driving license. The learner's licenses are valid for a year, like all bikes. This bike fits into the same category as a 125cc petrol motorcycle. In terms of its performance and in terms of its licensing category, it's exactly the same kind of thing.
How easy is it for somebody who's never ridden a motorbike before to get to grips with this particular motorbike though?
Well, what's interesting about this particular range, and understanding that we designed the range initially for the rental market, we've got different performance settings that we can adjust on the bike. So it's a software program we fitted to the bike. We can limit the bike's performance to 45 kilometers an hour top end, or 60 or open. So it'll do 109 kilometers on a flat out. 60 kilometers an hour if we set it, and then again 45 kilometers an hour if we set it to its lowest possible performance.
So people can't go too fast.
They can't go too fast. Again, the problem is that, and what extended our R&D on the bike is the fact that, knowing South African road users as we do, there's suicide speeds which you need to be able to exceed. 45 k's an hour in this town is not going to be nothing other than cannon fodder. 60 is not enough to make a big dent in the way you're going to ride around in the traffic. So unfortunately, the reality is that you need a bike that can outmaneuver anything else in traffic. The speed performance times are quite quick. And once you learn to ride the bike, you'll find that you're getting ahead of the traffic and you can easily sustain the traffic flow. So you tend to ride it between 60 and 80 kilometers an hour in traffic, which is quite nice.
Now what about going forward? I mean, you've got the bike, you say you've got to replace the tires every now and then, you've got to replace this, that and the other. What happens if something goes wrong? I mean, lithium-ion batteries will still have a shelf life.
Well, we've got a 2-year unlimited mileage warranty on the product, so we carry a massive range of parts and accessories. More accessories than parts, funny enough. Because you've only got a limited number of service items, it's easy for us to be able to back the bike up quite nicely. The lithium-ion battery we've got in this bike is good for 3,200 consecutive charges. So from 0 to 100%, 3,200 times. What's nice about lithium-ion is the technology is moving quite fast. So you'll find this time next year, lithium-ion battery is going to be half the size, half the cost, giving you twice the range and half the recharge time. So we're quite excited about being able to get our clients onto these bikes, ring them in 2 years' time, do a battery swap with them and give them an extended range with extended performance at half the cost of what a battery is costing right now.
So when it comes to the R&D with the solar panel, is that going to put the price up firstly? And secondly, how is that going to work going forward?
Well, unfortunately, like anything, the R&D on solar panels is not cheap. It's going to give you completely off-grid sustainability, which means complete carbon neutrality. So a lot of people are not going to buy electric bikes unless they can be completely off-grid, which we understand. So the solar panel we're going to be supplying with the bike is going to be in the range of 50,000 Rand, but it's the solar panel, it's the battery, it's the step-down transformer, it's the whole installation kit that you need. So literally you'd be buying a bike with a solar panel as an accessory, you can install it at home or at the office, which means you're going to be completely off-grid then. So from a sustainability point of view, that's what we're looking to try and get to in terms of the range we've launched.
And its actual performance when it's working, I mean, you think people go around corners, they take the bike quite low. I'm looking at this and thinking, I'm worried it might fall apart when I take it around a hectic corner.
No, absolutely not. And again, part of the discipline we've had is not cutting corners in terms of engineering and development on the bike, from a component point of view and from a performance point of view. This bike rides just like a petrol bike does. It's got way faster acceleration. It's got the same maneuverability and the same lean angle you'd have on any kind of petrol bike. And again, with a lack of component in the bike, and when I say a lack of component, because we've managed to consolidate, upgrade the level of component and reduce the number of components, the reliability on this bike is far better than a petrol engine bike.
Okay, and where can people find you if they want to buy one of these?
Well, we've got our first shop established in Parkhurst. As you can see, the lovely 44 6th Street on Parkhurst is where we are now. We've got a shop opening in Cape Town, and we've got a franchise opening in Durban in the next couple of months. So look out for us all over the show. Or you can get hold of us at etronelectric.com or on 084433 8766.
We're searching South Africa for more eco stories to share. So if you've got a great idea, send us a mail to this address right here. And we'll be bringing you more in the line of eco, startup, alternative living, and learning in future episodes. So boop that button and subscribe.